It's almost a intro. Welcome guys, this is the first interview for Project Izwi, and we are speaking to Richard Laskey, and he can take it from here.
Thanks for having me. It's really exciting to be part of the project. Looking forward to see where it goes, and hopefully where it permeates through to the rest of the boys in the school.
Let's get started. Like, what school did you go to?
I went to Rivonia Primary until standard 1, then I went to Bedford View Primary, then I came to JP. So I started standard 6 in Jeff, so I still do standards. I was in standard 6, and then just before the end of standard 8, I wasn't really welcome.
You get expelled?
I had a little entrepreneur business. It was that was good for me. Can I tell a story? Because
Yes.
That might be. So I had a newspaper route, a morning and an evening newspaper route, and it was in the days of the dairies. So you used to put your milk bottles out, and then you'd put your coupons in, and it was your blue was a milk, and then your yellow was an orange juice, and your purple was a guava juice. So then I had this great idea. I would do my newspaper route, and on the way I would scale all of the tokens out of everybody's milk bottles, the empty milk bottles waiting for the delivery. So I'd scale the tokens, and then I would do my delivery. Then I'd jump on the bus, the 32 bus that went from Jewel Street to JP. I'd come here, then I'd go home in the afternoon, and it would drop us outside Jewel Street, and there was a dairy called Bliss Dairies. And I'd have my newspaper bag, and it was like a big thing backwards and front. You actually know what it's like to deliver newspapers.
No, I know.
But I would then go into the dairy, and I would take all the coupons, the little round things.
How many are we speaking?
I'd exchange lots. I'd exchange them for the guava juice, the orange juice, and the milk. It was obviously back in the day where like the black dudes were still carrying passbooks and they weren't allowed to do. So it was a bonus. I'd sell them milk, orange juice, and guava juice for half price. And then the money I got, I would buy marijuana.
On the kosher way.
And then I would sell it to my mates. Yeah. So like I had a thriving little entrepreneurship business that I thought was a great idea, but apparently it didn't go down so well. So that was where the entrepreneurial side of things came. So then I went from JP to St. Benedict's, and I finished at St. Benedict's.
So I know obviously you still absolutely love JP because
passionate about it. We still come to. There's a joke that the 89 group is the most oaks that started standard 6 and didn't finish matric. But we're still very involved. We've still got an 89 WhatsApp group. So we've still got all oaks on there. I mean, you know some of them, Alison McDonald, Dave Grieger. So we're still all Chinas. We still meet. We still abuse each other. Oaks all over the world are on it. So the group never stops because there's oaks in the States. One's in, I don't know, he's always chasing lady boys all over the world. I think he's in Manila at the moment. But that's great. We have a lot of banter. It's not safe, not PG-18, definitely. It's not safe. It can't ever be disclosed. But I think that passion runs deep. And we still get together here for the games. And then so we normally go to Troyville Hotel for lunch and then come to the games. So we've still been doing it for over 30 years.
Yeah, so I know your son, adopted son. I mean, he goes to Penny. Are you going to send him here for high school, or are you going to keep him there?
That's going to be edited, because if it was up to me, he would have been here already. He would be like getting in early now. So in the high schools next year, I'd love for him to come here. I'd love it. It's obviously his mom and dad's decision. So that's for me, it would be number one option, and number two would be your opposition.
Definitely,
because it's same morals, same way that they think, same discipline. So that for me, that would be the option. But yeah, for my Benny's mates, yeah, I won't. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
I do a bit of work with the St. Benny's alumni, so
Yeah.
I've got to be careful.
No, I agree. With kids, like, as much as we are rivals, we literally copy paste different fonts.
100%, dude.
That's why, like,
it's
as
old
much
school.
As, it's old school, and that's what I love about
It's
it.
not, there's no entitlement.
Yes.
And I think that's the other problem that we were alluding to earlier. The youngsters have this sense of entitlement. And I think it's nowadays, it's like a job is a right, it's not a privilege. That's how they see it. And I think that's, until such time as we change the mindset, that's never going to change.
No, that's also a big thing, especially with entitlement. Like, school, this is one of, like, the big things I came at, is because, like, one of the feelings that I felt on my first day walking to the gate, like, at Redden, which is going to previously, is like, you get driven in, get dropped off right in front of the school, your parents drive out. Here, you get dropped on the road and you walk in through the front gate, and it's like, it was the weirdest feeling. Like, as I walked in, I realized these oaks don't care about a single thing that I own.
Yeah.
Where at my old school, that's all I did. It's not what you could do, it's what you have.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I actually, like, as I walked in, I fell in love with this. At the school, it's not about what you have, it's what you can do for the school. And that's something I gave a whole speech to in the grade 8 this year. I told them, I was like, no matter what you have, no matter who you are, no matter where you come from, nobody cares. You are nobody right now. You have to earn your name, and that's something I love. Is especially like on the time, it was a tour, and I like, obviously I was still thinking it's easy OZ. Like, if I wanted to miss a few days of school in grade 10, I booked a holiday to Cape Town, and I missed one fixture because to me fixtures weren't that big. And then I missed the fixture, and I got dropped 2 teams. I was like, what? And then I realized, I was like, you can't, like, you have to earn your right here. Like, you're not just going to get it anymore. And I love that. It's just, you learn to actually, like, adore the things. Like, you're not playing for just yourself, because you know if you slack, you're going to lose your position.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, it's, I'm tired, I don't want to play today. It's like, I'm going to play so I can keep my position. And that's what, like, you learn real hard work. You learn to wake up when you don't want to. You learn to go to training when you don't want to. And it's like, it's a small thing that's building your mind. It's like, I really don't want to go to work today, or I really don't want to read today, and it's doing it anyway. And it's the small things that you learn. That's like from Jeff, and there's a lot of life skills that you learn here that you wouldn't learn in an ordinary school.
But there's also like a sense of loyalty to the people you're training with, and actually like
don't want to let them down.
Because I used to row, and it was probably the hardest sport I've ever done in my life. And every single weekend, it was like I trained from Monday to a Saturday when I'm racing, and I hated it. I was like, I hated the training, I hated the racing, but I kept staying, and I don't know why. And it's only this year where I realized, like, the reason why I stayed is because I wasn't alone going through that. It was my whole team was going through that. We stayed because for the person who was behind us, in front of us, and that's why I loved the school when I came in grade 8, because my previous school I knew people, but when I came here, it's like a different level. It's like you know them, not based on their family, not based on how much money they have. It's like a melting pot of like just different cultures, and no one discriminates you on that. It's just you're a Jeppy boy. Everyone wears that blazer. It's not about like, oh, I have nice shoes or stuff. It's no, you wear black and white.
And that's, I mean, that's such a special thing about it. It's that bond that doesn't get broken.
Yeah.
Actually, I knew about the cows because I used to run for school. I was in first team, and then my coach, he ran for the cows. And
Who's your coach?
Tyson, I don't know his surname, but I call him Coach Tyson. Whenever we would go down to Durban for like the exchanges, he would like send a message of like a group, and I kid you not, that weekend at like a park run, it'd be just like a horde of cows almost, and we'd just run with them, and they were always so fast. It was crazy.
No, there's some good oaks there.
Yeah, it was.
And that's been where we've seen a huge amount of growth. Was there. So our biggest focus was always cycling when we first started. That was where the majority of the herd was pulled in from. But it's grown exponentially on the running side of things, and that's due to comrades.
Yeah.
So Midmore's massive. So Midmore, we've got a very big presence. I think last year we raised I think just on $1 million for the swim for Midmore. The 9-4 we raised, or Joburg we raised, I think also just shy of 1 million. Comrades raised 2.6, I think it was.
Yeah.
2.6 million at Comrades.
That's
So that was, running's become...
quite a big one. It's the biggest.
Yeah, and you know what it is, dude? It's like, so for Comrades, you've got to, so you obviously get seeded. So depending on how good or you are, is where you're going to be in the seeding. So if you're in H batch, like you're really slow, but it's going to take you 21 minutes to cross the line. So Comrades is gun to mat. So when the gun goes, that's when the time goes. So most races are mat to mat, which means as you cross the start line,
is when you go.
that's when your time starts. So if you take 21 minutes to cross Comrades to get to the start, you're 21 minutes behind.
Yeah, that's
So,
quite a lot.
and especially when you're battling and you're a slow runner, it's a long. It sounds like it's not so much to make up over 90 k's.
No, but it is.
But so what happens is for the seeding, if you run for a charity, you get a C seeding. So C seeding, I mean, I think we were over the line in like 40 seconds, dude.
No, that's
So
nice.
you've saved yourself. So everybody wants, like, what they just want to be, like, they'll support you because they want to save their 21 minutes.
Yeah.
But the big thing is you've got to raise your $6,000. So if you don't raise the $6,000, you go back to H page.
No way.
So that's how it works. So that's, you force folks to raise their
And like, why did you start the cows? Like,
because a friend of ours' daughter passed away at 20 months. Jess passed away at 20 months, and then that was it. So they'd been involved, they got involved with Chalk. So you must remember they're two different things. So Chalk is a separate charity that was started in '79. So that was started by Professor Sadie, and she started it to try and help parents whose kids had got cancer. So try and rally around support. So they started that in '79. Karen and Grant, the parents of Jess, had come to learn about Chalk when their daughter was sick, and they wanted to get back to Chalk, but they didn't know how to. They didn't understand how to do it. So they, two of our current guys were working with her, and she said, how do you do it and what do you do? So then they gave me a buzz because I've been raising money for different charities before the cows. So SPCA, Sports Trust, Pink Drive,
all of the big ones.
yeah, so all the different charities, Starfish. So I'd always run races for different charities. So then we got together, had a good few glasses of virus and got out of hand and came up with some cack ideas. that was the idea. So that's how it started. It's 17 years ago.
Yeah.
And 57 million rand later. That's what's been raised. So yeah, it's not always a bad thing getting hammered and talking. Normal everyday people who are telling a story and you hope it resonates with your audience. For me, you need to resonate with your peers, and you need to be able to help them. They need to be able to be bored out of their tree to sit there and watch like someone like me talking and go, oh my God, I've got nothing better to do but let me listen to this. And hopefully something resonates, or maybe it's something at home, or maybe it's someone in the family group or something that's going through something similar, and they say, Flip, have a check at this, it might help. I don't know if it does, but it might help. So I think that is definitely something which is gonna, it's easy to, I mean, look, he's probably the wrong word to use right now, because everybody knows who Sia Khaleesi is, okay? And everybody thinks he's phenomenal except his wife, his ex-wife, whatever you want to do. But he's been put on this pedestal. But if he talks, everybody listens. But we're not all going to be Sias. And that's the thing, is you can't really relate to Sia because but first of all, he's on a package which we're never going to understand. Second of all, he travels everywhere, he's sponsored, so everything that he has, he's sponsored, he hasn't paid for, because he's fortunate enough to be in that position. So when people like him talk, you listen, but you don't listen with 2 ears. Because it's like, well, he's up there, he lives a different life to what we live. He's like traveling the world, he's been sponsored by all these likes, he's at Laureus, he's an ambassador for Laureus. So you don't really take into it. I mean, if you had to have your peers sit and do a speech in class and something resonated with you, I promise you'd remember that more than you would a speech like that Sia gave. Because he's so far removed from you. He's the person in your class that's going to hit home a lot, and it's going to be able to have much more of an impact than what he says. Because also acts like in those sort of things, they're always like, oh yeah, well he has to say that because he's impacting on millions of people who are watching him. he's got millions of followers, so he has to say the right thing. You know, whereas your China sitting next to you is going through a time, but his words are going to hit a lot harder than what Sears or anyone else's are going to, for that matter, if that makes sense.
So yeah, we spoke about lessons just before this, like spreading your lesson. So what is probably one piece of advice that you could give to just anyone in general? Like what's the basic piece of advice you've ever learned?
Sure. But there's so many cliches. It's like, also, just be yourself, whatever. But for me, my thing is, my favorite person is Bob Marley. That's my dude. And he's got one of his songs. It's got a thing that says, "Open your eyes, look within. Are you satisfied with your life?" And if you're not satisfied, change it. So I actually go to work every single day, come home, I hate my job, I hate this, I hate that, I hate my colleagues. So what are you doing about it? Get up and change it, because it's not going to change for you. So if you want to get up every morning and believe that you're going to 9 to 5, change it. If you want to be a TikToker, flipping, if you decide that's the way you want to go, well, go and do it. I don't necessarily, I mean, that's something which I've got the lyrics tattooed on my chest, and it's just, that's something that I live by. If I'm not happy, change it. It's not something which I don't expect anyone else to change it for me. It's something I try to talk to the kids about as well. Just if they're not happy with something, don't moan to the world about it. So dissect it and find out what's wrong. You know, what you bring to our house, it's crazy. It's everyone's always available and welcome at our house. It's and I think it's also just everyone's human, dude. There's another thing which is, you know, people say you only live once, and that's a big because you live every day, you die once. So that's something which, you know, every day you wake up, you've got an opportunity to make something work. So if you're not going to make it work, well, don't moan when you go to sleep at night. But if you did it up, look at yourself in the mirror and go, what am I going to change tomorrow to make sure it's right? So that's pretty much.
But like, especially now with the youngies in the generation, a lot of them expect everybody to do everything for them. So how can you convince them that before it's too late, how do you convince them that they need to help themselves and that nobody's going to come up with it? Because a lot of people learn when it's too late.
So to be honest, I think we're in a generation, and that's where we sound like we're in a generation where that's not going to change, because that's what society is taught. And I think we're going to go like full circle. I think where we are now, everything's being automated, and you've got AI and everything's, you're going to use AI for a lot of this problem. So if you're not, two things, if you're not using AI, then you're stupid, because it's someone else is using it and they're going to get to what you're trying to accomplish before you. And the other problem is that by using AI, humans are becoming stupid. So you can't, and they can't think for themselves. Yeah. So if you've got an issue on something, your car, a system that you're working on, your laptop, whatever, any complaint you've got, you can't speak to a human. Yeah. Everything's automated. So I was like, go to Discovery, have I got a problem? Whatever, I'll give you a Dropbox, 8 different things. Is it any of those 8? No. Okay, this is the closest. Click on that, drops down another box. And then at the end of doing all those boxes, have I helped you? No, you haven't helped at all. I want to speak to a human, but you can't speak to a human. If you are lucky enough to get to speak to a human, the human can't think for itself. Yeah. Because they've got all these automated processes, so like, oh god, the phone's ringing, that means that they've exhausted all of their problems. Okay, let me pick up the phone. You'll be lucky if they actually do pick up the phone. And if they do speak to you, they don't know how to answer it. So humans are becoming more and more stupid as we go along, because technology is improving. So that's an issue. So to answer you, I don't have an answer as to how as to what to tell a kid, because the kids are being programmed as we live. They're living a completely different life to what we live in. And as old as I am, people younger than you are learning technology way faster than what you are. And they're not programmed like that. They're not programmed to go and ride their bicycles. And this country is terrible as well, because we used to be able to go and ride our bicycles.
They can't.
And now you're not safe. I mean, our parents couldn't get hold of us. It was the best thing ever. Like, you had a rule that you had to be home when the street lights were on, and make sure you're home, because if you weren't, you got lost 10. That you can't do that anymore. So you also, by the same token, can't be blaming the kids, because society's put us into this vicious like washing machine cycle where this is what they're used to. So what we think is normal is not normal to them. And as adults with kids, I've got to look at it and go, well, I might disagree with it, but also I haven't grown up like that. So I need to try and put myself in your shoes and try and understand it. For me, I don't think you're going to solve it. What I do think is a place like Jeppy, and I was talking to Ryan about it earlier. I mean, Ryan talked about kids, so that's actually quite good enough. But coming to a school like this, like that other three-letter word school that's not too far away. Also, I would happily send my it's a bit of a problem with I don't have one, but well, I do, so exactly, my biological one.
Yeah.
I would happily send him here. Because there's still an ethos, there's still an attitude of respect, there's still, whereas you go to private schools, that doesn't exist.
That's the exact reason I came. That's the thing that was lacking at my
You
school.
know my feelings on those places,
Yeah.
so and I think that's where your editor's going to have to edit a lot out. But like that's a big problem. It's, we're not doing ourselves any favors by being this woke society. We're just accepting of everything because we're too concerned that some big high-paying parent is going to stop contributing because the kid wants to be his house, cat, dog, I don't know. So that's a problem.
Okay, like let's say, okay, not for the majority of kids, because this is something I mean, like for when I do have kids, because this is something I'm extremely worried about, is that my kids become so complacent, and then my kids think that somebody's going to do it for them, or they're just going to be like spoiled brats. So like, how do you teach them to just, that they have to look after themselves, that they have to change their own problems? Like, how did you do that with yours?
So I think that's just old school. That's what the rules, like do whatever you want to do outside of wherever, but if you're in my house, there's respect. So you will greet, if you're a boy, you will look them in the eye, handshake, firm handshake. You will greet everybody. I mean, Madison the other day, this person was saying to her, like, why do you keep calling me ma'am and sir? She went to a friend's house, and that's the way she was brought up. So it's that, what you do in your own little circle, you hope permeates through your kids and their kids.
Yeah.
So you do your little bit, you can't be helped if someone else hasn't done it. That's not your problem, dude. It's not your monkey, not your circus. You've got to hope that what you do in your little circle permeates and makes the circle better. That's all you can. You can't do anything more than that. It's we've got a thing in the cows where every year when we finish our events, we have an awards thing that's celebrating celebrating the money that's been raised, the fact that we're going to make some impact on some kids' lives, etc., families' lives. And we have awards named after different people who we've lost. So everybody who's lost their life to the journey gets an award named after them. And one of the awards is the Ripple Award. And we've all been a kid and we've all sat on the side of a river, a dam, a lake, and skinned that stone. Try to make it bounce as many times as possible. And the thing about it is as you watch that stone bounce, you see the ripples. And those ripples are what permeate through the water. And that's what we've got to do, is just permeate positivity and love and hope through everyone that you meet. That's got to be your goal and whoever else's goal. And if that is the case, it will happen. But we are in a position where we've been brought up differently to other people. If I was brought up in Tukosa, for want of a better place, or Mumbai, slums of Calcutta, I don't know anything except poverty. I'm never going to eat a takeaway in my life. I only, in our country, I'll use our country. If we use our townships as an example, but 95% of those kids grow up without a father.
Yeah.
When they see, what they see is they see violence against women, they see violence against kids, they see rape, sodomy. That's normal to them.
Yeah.
So how do we judge that person when they go and then murder someone because that's all they've seen? They haven't seen anything else. They haven't been privileged as we have, to have an education, to have an upbringing like we have. So we can't be judging oaks and going, oh geez, how do you kill that oak? Or how do you, go back a few steps and see how were they brought up? So we're very quick to sit and point fingers, but we're also not very quick to jump around and go, well, how do we help that situation? What do we do differently to go and help those kids in those townships? And that's where the majority of our population lives. So there's very little hope if we're not going to be setting those foundations right.
But like, with like another thing, so I'm going back to like the ripple thing. So with somebody, because like right now, like that's literally like my rule is always spreading love, always be the reason someone smiles today. That's something my mom has told me to do from a young age. Is no matter like what mood you're in, always smile, be the reason someone smiles. And like with like the pressure and like stress building up with me, like I'm feeling extremely tired, and like I'm so scared that like I crack and like I really like just get really angry with a grade 8, and then I'm thinking then that would be my ripple of like negativity. So how would you like how can I manage this to like not?
So everyone's got a trigger point.
Yeah.
And you're gonna get to a point where you can't take it. You're gonna realize in your own within yourself what that trigger point is and where you get to. So if you're sitting on a clock and you like it's now 5 to 12, you know that's your time. Remove yourself from the situation. Just remove yourself completely. Tune the grade 8. I'll be back now. I've just got something urgent. One of the teachers has called me. The kid doesn't need to know what's going on. Just say to the grade 8, listen, I'm coming back now. One of the teachers just called me. Go to the bathroom, go do whatever, go there. Remove yourself entirely because you're going to cause and it's not going to be pleasant, like you say. So take yourself out of the equation. Go and do whatever it is. So I mean, what I tend to do is I'm terrible. So I make notes all the time. So I don't sleep. So I've got a diary everywhere. So there's a diary next to my bed. There's a diary in my study. There's a diary in the kitchen, and I'm always writing. And I take whatever I've written and I put it onto notes on my phone. So because I always have my phone, which I've admitted to. But it's times like that where I'll go and read something, and it could be a quote. It could be a song. The lyrics from a song could be anything. But it's something where I know that I'm at that spot, I need to stop. So like my business partners is a big thing, one in particular, because we just managed to buy a night in December.
No
we
way.
were going through very ugly stuff for 18 months. And this we must see it.
Yeah.
There was ugly times. And I used to have a phone call with him once a week and I would record it.
That.
Yeah, I would. So it was just me and him because him and my other partner couldn't talk to each other. But there would be a thing, and I'd have it on speaker and no camera, and I would have it, and I knew when I got to the point I managed to stay calm because he gets very riled up, and I know these trigger moments, and I know what he does to try and trigger those moments for me, and I would just have it sitting next to me I have it on my laptop, and I had a picture of the kiddos. Every call I had a picture of the family and the kiddos and it's set on my laptop. And every time I got pissed off and wanted to say something, I'd look at it and go, this is what we're doing this for. Yeah, the cars journey. So cars is obviously maybe assist. That's been a big helping force with everything. So I've always done everything drunk. So everything. So like 2011 Euro Cup final, we were out till 3 in the morning. Went home to the hotel, showered, couldn't find my contact lenses. After I showered, put my glasses on and ran comrades. So like that's how we've operated all the time. Stopping along the road, having beers, having tequilas. So that's how I operate. There was always drinking, always alcohol, always bad stuff involved. Carl's, a friend of ours' daughter passed away at 20 months. And they wanted to get back to CHOC, so CHOC had become involved with CHOC and went to what CHOC is. CHOC helps parents who got kids who've been diagnosed. No, wait, we've spoken about this, so I don't need to tell you that. We've spoken about this. Okay, cool, so there, I forgot we were recording when we started. I didn't realise we were recording. I thought there was...
We've learned to just push record.
I thought it was just spitballing, and then I realised after, so we actually don't need to talk about that. So,
Yeah, so I have a couple of questions. So
sorry, it might have been a little long, but it's chuck stuff in between.
it's fine. For my job.
Our stories like boring.
I think it's a good story because I feel like a lot of people can relate to different parts of it. I think for me, my question is, for someone who's addicted, especially like alcohol, what is some advice you could give them?
So advice for any addiction, so if it's drugs and alcohol, obviously that's a problem. If you're addicted to, so addiction is addiction, it doesn't matter. You've got an eating disorder, you've got a cocaine disorder, you've got whatever it is, addiction is always going to be there, you're never going to change it. What I've done is I've taken away the addiction to substance and alcohol, and I've changed that into addiction for health and fitness. So it's exactly the same thing. There's no difference. It's still an addiction. Like I cannot go a day without training. There's just no ways. Doesn't matter what it is. Christmas Day, New Year's Day, means nothing. I will train every single day. So that's an addiction in itself. But I'd rather have that addiction than the addiction that's doing damage to families and those around me. So for anybody who's going through something that they're struggling with, they need to know that, and people go like, I'm not an alcoholic, I only get smashed on the Saturday. I'm not an alcoholic. That's not the definition of an alcoholic. The definition is, does it change you as a person? And do your behavioural patterns change when you're doing that? If so, you've got a problem. You might not think that you have, but there's a hell of a lot of people that are bordering on it. And for like me, they say that for alcoholics, it's 1 is too many and 10,000 is too few. So I can't ever take the risk of trying to have just one. I could never do that. I could never just have one and switch off. No ways. I had to drink the ball dry. So anyone who's struggling with it or battling with it, if you think you've got a problem, reach out. There's lots of different places that you can reach out to. There's sort of lifeline that you can go to. There's Alcoholics Anonymous, there's Cocaine Anonymous, there's Eating Order Anonymous. So there's always going to be tools and always going to be things out there. Google's amazing thing that you can find. But I find that a lot of those are very impersonal. So my thing is like, I think the I've got you thing that we have, that's completely just you and me. So if you got a problem, it's only you and me that know about it. So you letting off steam, you letting off your inner demons, whatever it is, and I'll take those on and I'll help you fix those, not fix them, but I'll help you deal with them.
And how would someone get onto those rules?
Just jump onto my cell phone or be on this. Just send me a WhatsApp. Just send me a WhatsApp. I'm always available. There's never a time that you're not available, that I'm not available. If I am, I'll send a message straight away and just say, look, I'll get back to you. So the thing about it is also people think their problems are meaningless and they're too small and they're like insignificant. They're not. They might seem insignificant, but in their lives it means a hell of a lot. So what they're going through might seem it's like so tiny compared to what everyone else is going through. Doesn't matter. Your problem is massive in terms of what you're dealing with right now. So there's a lot of people who didn't wake up this morning. So there's people who are trying to deal with the fact that they lost someone who passed away last night. So it makes like you and I sitting here having a chat going, oh my god, I've got that project due, or I've got a deadline due, and maybe it pales in significance compared to that.
Also, how did you, or how were you able to deal with like the consequences? Obviously you weren't happy with the life you were leading, but that must have affected everybody around you like an extreme amount. So how did you cope with that? Because obviously it didn't stop you. So what would you like almost believe in to make yourself believe it was okay?
Dude, so nothing's really changed. I still don't even what anybody's feelings. I really don't. My thing is I don't fucking care. If you don't like it, it's your problem, not my problem. And that hasn't changed. So when I was doing what I was doing, it was detrimental to everybody around me. So it was detrimental to business, to my kids, to my family, to absolutely everybody. So to their time, to their feelings, to the way they behaved. It was detrimental to everything. Now what it is I still have the same attitude in that I really don't give a fuck if you like me or not. I'm not here for that. I'm here to do something and I'm here to try and assist where I possibly can. If you disagree with something, those are your own problems that you've got to sort out your own things. So the way I deal with it, I realized that I was a really miserable and I affected so many people in different ways. And it's a long, hard look in the mirror, and it's being honest with yourself and just being 100% vulnerable and realizing that you're a complete mess and you need to change it. And what we alluded to earlier when I said to you, if you're going to a 9 to 5 every single day and moaning about it, you're the problem, not your job. So you're the problem. So I was the problem the entire time, and I can't blame circumstances. I can't blame the fact that I had an alcoholic father and I'm not who didn't love. I can't blame it. Because what did they go through that put them in their situation? My dad's parents were in the war. So what did he go through to make him the way he was? So at the end of the day, I've done all of the things that I did, and it's easy to sit back and go, oh yeah, but it's because this and this. No, draw a line in the sand, and how am I going to now make sure that my kids don't go through that? So did I have what was my relationship like with the kids before? I thought it was fantastic. I thought I was the greatest father ever. I thought I was a magic, phenomenal dude. I wasn't. I was a piece of shit. And absolute rubbish, absolute terrible father, terrible husband, terrible mates. And I had to make a lot of changes and look inwardly and figure out how do I make those changes, and how the relationship I have with the kids now, phenomenal. We have an amazing interview there that probably tell you something different. But we have an amazing time. We're very honest, and so we discuss absolutely everything around our dinner table. There's nothing that you can't discuss. We discuss absolutely every single solitary thing, and they need to know that that is a safe place. And we've created this safe, home is a safe place where everybody's welcome. So there's always something happening in our house. All of their friends are always comfortable to come to our house and be open and honest with each other. So I think, having done what I've done, no, I'm not this hero, I'm not this, like, I've turned it around. There's still a lot of stuff that I've got to fix. I've only been sober 6 years. A lot of people I talk to go, Flip, I've been sober for 2 years now. When are they ever going to trust me? So think about how many times you messed up versus the times that you've done things right. But you've messed up a hell of a lot more than you would. So you're going to remain an addict for the rest of your life. You're only one step away from f***ing up. And that's what you always got to remember. It doesn't matter in any facet of our life. We're always one step away from messing up, but we're always one step away from improving.
Also, like, one of my friends' dads, like, because I've always just loved, like, speaking to older parents, and he's like analogy on like why you should never try like drugs. Because we go into like I was like 15 years old. Obviously, that's like the very inquisitive age. Like, I never did anything, but I asked questions like, what did this do? How did it, like, have you ever tried anything? Because I was curious. And he was like, I've never tried anything. And then he gave me the analogy of, there was this boy and he was in school, right? And then he was just playing around, and then and then all of a sudden, he got into a fight, and then he fell, and then his eye got, like, he had like no eye, like his iris popped or something like that. I can't remember the story exactly. And then he had to surgically get his eye out. And then he came to school for 1 day, and this was only like, so the fight happened at home on holidays, and he came to school for 1 day with no eye. And then that afternoon he went to got it fixed. But he was always known as the guy with one eye. And that's like my whole thing on why reputation is so important, is because one mess up and that's all you're known for the rest of your life. And that's why, like, it's like, and it's so true, especially with drugs. Like, I've seen it. There was a guy that was, when I joined JP, there was a guy that was in, like, he was in matric in my year, and he did drugs, and the entire school, like, knew him, and I didn't know him.
Yeah.
But that's what I knew him for. And literally, it's, once you try something, especially that, like, bad, it's you for life. You get that label for life, and that's why I think it's so important, like, that it's like, if you're gonna make a bad decision, you have to be able to deal with the consequences.
Absolutely. You made your bed, you got to lie on it.
Yeah.
But I think the other important thing is that if you've made mistakes, you can fix it.
100%.
There's 100% you can fix it.
Yeah.
You need to understand that the possibilities are always going to be there that you're going to mess up, but you are able to fix it and you are able to repair it. You're always going to have scars. Scars are going to remain. Scars are reminders of all the times that you messed up. But you do have the ability. I don't regret anything. I do not regret a single solitary thing, not one, because it brought me to exactly where I am right now. And if I hadn't have made all those mistakes, and I hadn't have made all those f***ups, I wouldn't be where I am now, trying to help others deal with what they're going through currently. And I'm able to understand it more because I've been there. So it resonates with me, so I know what they're going through. It's not like, and it's going to be a thing because you're sitting there. You go to a therapist. The therapist hasn't been through what you've been through.
Yeah, 100%.
They've studied, this is what you're supposed to say, this is how you're supposed to react. I'm not having a go at therapists, but it's very different actually dealing in the trenches
100%.
and when you're sitting on a couch. So that's why they do what they do, because they're able to tell you those things and fix it. I am there to say I can completely understand with what you're going through, because I've been there and I've been through like it is, and this is my thinking and this is what I think you should do to try and get out of it. Doesn't mean it's going to be right, because it doesn't mean it's going to work for you just because it's worked for me. But people need to understand that you aren't a f*** up of society.
100%.
You can fix it. You can, as bad as you think it is fixable. It is repairable.
Thank you for joining us for part of Project Izwi. I've learned a lot through this hour and a half, 2 hours here. I think something I've taken away is that even if you make a mistake, it's not the end, and that no matter how bad it may seem, there's always a way back, a way forward. So yeah, thank you. I learned a lot.
And I think something I took that was very important is it's also no matter how many times you think you're in the wrong position or you're doing the wrong thing, like you're meant to be right where you are. Exactly what you said. And I always thought like whenever I've made a mistake and then I'm like, okay, no, if I didn't make the mistake, I could have been where I am now quicker. But then you made me realize that it was like that mistake is a part of who I am, and I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that mistake. And that mistake made me able to be here. And it's just shifting my perspective of, I always tell people you must never be afraid to make a mistake, but now you've given me a reason to never be afraid of making a mistake. Yeah.
Guys, thanks for having me, and thanks to you for having me. I know you're in the background, but thank you. It's been a privilege, and I think more than anything, just so stoked and excited to be a part of it. And I think we just, in closing, it's just FND couldn't be any more pertinent right now.
Definitely.
And if we just remember that, to goosebumps. But if you just remember that, for the brave, nothing is difficult, and that's something that we're always going to have to carry with us, and it's something we're privileged to carry with us having been here. So yeah, I'm stoked to be a part of it, and hope it just grows from strength to strength.
So if you guys would like to get in contact with Mr. Laskey, or even if you guys just want to learn more about the cows of the Trop Foundation, his information will be down in the description. So yeah, that was part of Project Izwi. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you.
Well done, boys. Hope that was okay. Hope that was okay.
Human nature plays with nature, but the nature isn't playing. Some want to rebuild the future. I say stop slaying, stop slaying. Our hotel room is crumbling. Buildings are full of souls falling. And families all struggling are turning dead from low ceiling. Maybe I am ready to leave. I have lived well for now.